I was sitting at my kitchen table, contemplating, reflecting on something that was asked of me years ago by Carol Moore. I'll send this to her as well. She'd asked me, she said, Paul, why don't you come down here to Georgia and start a church? She had moved from Illinois, without going a long story, and Georgia taken her in for a while, and she eventually got to her own place and went on. But she had asked me, why don't I come down to Georgia and start a church? I went down to visit them a couple of times. I even contemplated moving to Georgia. That day's passed. That's not going to happen now. And I told her that I didn't want to start a church. How can you start something that's already there? You know, it's called the ecclesia, the called out assembly. The called out assembly. You go down there on many a street corner, you'll find a different church under a different label. You know, there's no need for me to start a church down there. Matter of fact, I looked it up. I put it in that video series, the 501c3, remember? About how many churches are going through foreclosure. Just in the state of Georgia, there's thousands of churches under foreclosure. Why would I want to start a church, end up in foreclosure or something with the financial situation of this world today? I didn't want to do that. Matter of fact, I pointed out the fact that the argument that the woman at the well had given Jesus, remember? Here's this woman saying to him, she's a half-breed, she's half Jew, half Gentile, so they worship in the mountains. And he said, you Jews, you worship in the temple. Trying to start an argument. Who was right and who was wrong. But he should be in the building or be in the mountains. And Jesus didn't get involved with the argument. He just simply says to her, woman, there's coming a day. Now I believe that day is the day. It's been there for a while. It's more so today than it's ever been. And I've been trying to preach and teach this message for some time about the ecclesia, the called out assembly, being strangers and pilgrims. He says, woman, there's coming a day where God will look for. God's looking for this. He's looking for you and me and many a person out there in these denominations. He's looking for a people that will worship him in truth and in spirit. Now, I've expressed this over and over again about what the truth is. I got this from Watchman Nee. He was right on the money. He understood what the real true church was. He says it's called out assembly, strangers and pilgrims. He says about this word church, it's called out assembly. He says the word truth. He said many times when you see the word truth in the Bible, translated this way, the reality. Then he got into about the Christ of reality. He says if all you have is the Jesus that's of your intellect or your emotions, you have yet to touch the Christ of reality. Now I put out a video out on that, or I put out an audio to Dropbox to all of you. What do we want? I mean, I've been trying to teach this message. I won't start another church. I said, if people want to go to church, I said, go to church. Ask yourself, what are you getting? What do you got? What's your image and perspective of church? You go to the world and ask them what a church is, and they'll tell you. They'll point to a Catholic church, Methodist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal church down such and such a street, and they call that the church. Then you get into the churches, they know the Greek word, ecclesia, and they know there's supposed to be a called out assembly. But their idea of a called out assembly is that you're inside this building, outside the four walls of that building is the big bad world, and they're not of the world. Yet they joined 501c, they're under federal government, they don't even know it, you know, because everybody else was doing it. I mean, more and more, you're seeing this. I mean, can I document it? Yes, it can be documented if you need that. More and more people come outside the framework of those churches. They're coming outside the camp, it says in the book of Hebrews. Get in the book of Hebrews. Coming out bearing his reproach. What's his reproach? My kingdom is not of this world. The world, my disciples would fall for me. I mean, he's outside the framework of the institutional church. What was he trying to offer? A new being, new reality, new sense of power. He goes to prepare a place for you, a place not made by the hands of men. I mean, what more can God offer? I'm not going to get caught up in this argument whether you should go to a church building in your town. I have recommended, here's what we could do, that we could meet. I mean, I was in Amway some time ago, years ago, without getting into that. And they used to go, every 4 months they would hold a convention. And all the people from the various branches of their organization would meet in a big, huge hotel. And as it grew, they would expand the room. I'm saying we could do that if people wanted to start a church. Now, I don't want to start something that's already there. You're called out assembly. But like some people say, I need somebody in the flesh. I need to see this in reality. I know this meeting on the web and this email thing doesn't work. And YouTube videos and all that. I'd like to get together with you. Would you now? That's what Carol had mentioned. That's what she had wanted. And I couldn't see it back then, but now I can see it. You know what we could do? We could meet every 4 months or 2 or 3 times a year and all plan this together. You put your monies together. I remember they used to do that with Amway. They would charge like $300 or $400 and it would cover 2 nights in a room and the renting of that space to have their meetings and their fun and entertainment, and also their training sessions where they would get into Amway products and all that stuff. Now, I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to get people in Amway. Oh, God. If that's what you need, now I understand that, the elbows of the flesh, we need that. We need to touch one another, see one another. But then again, you wonder, that's why I'm putting out audio here. I don't want you to look at my ugly face. I'm not going to put myself down. I'm just saying, some people get turned off the very looks. I brought out a video on that, Don't know me after the flesh. Know me after the spirit. God's looking for people like that. To worship in truth and in spirit. And that's what I've been looking for. Those that are willing to worship in truth and spirit. Let's take an example. Here we are. Here's Sue, way over there in New Zealand. Now, she probably couldn't get here. Maybe once a year she could link her vacation around the fact coming to the United States somewhere and coming into the facility that we would meet together. And there's Mary down in Miami. She could either drive or take a bus or train or fly. Same way with George, the same down in Georgia. And then Marie, in Virginia, she could get there. We would make it some halfway point where we all wouldn't have to spend too much money to fly, drive, or take a bus or train. And then there's Sydney out there in, Montana. And then there's Mimi, that you see all these emails I sent out. I only got 5 people out there in Washington State. Maybe she could fly here. We would all contribute over that period of time, maybe say every 4 months. Over that period of time, if there's any tithes and offerings, I hate that word, any monies, we would contribute, put it into a pot. It would help each one pay for his train, plane, bus fare to get there, and pay for the room and for the meeting. And we would have a time together so we can say we meet. We assemble together. We don't forsake the assembly ourselves together, as such as some. Now, you get in the book of Hebrews, they were doing that. Now, the institutes of the church will use that text. I believe this is chapter 9 of Hebrews. Now, we should not forsake the assembly yourself together. You should get to go to church every week. Oh, God. If it gets to the point where the church is not just called out some, doesn't have the stranger and pilgrim stance, does not worship in the truth as far as seeing a reality beyond this reality, come out. Come out of that church. Come out of those institutions. I don't know what they preach and teach. Some of you still go to church, some of you don't. I'm not going to say you should or shouldn't. I'm not going to get into that argument. Any more than Jesus would. He wouldn't get into that argument. He said there's coming a day. And like I said, I believe that day is the day. He's looking for people to worship in truth and spirit. The area of spirit. Now, I've been bringing that out a lot lately. That's his quickened human spirit by the Holy Spirit that knows God as his Father. And it's the surrender of the human soul, of its intellect and emotion, its feelings and opinions about the, even say this word church. You know what you feel like in your soul, your carnal soul, independent from God? The soul thinks and feels after the idea is taught under tradition, race, cultures, and creeds, and it feels and thinks the word church. Now, you have to lose that to gain this area of the spirit I'm talking about. Now, if you're not willing to do that, then you have to stick with the flesh. It's not a matter of judging or condoning anybody. No, not that we're all saying for the judgment seat of Christ. We'll answer for that. For all those that run up these big mega churches and get people to believe that that's the idea of church, if they're wrong, they'll answer for that someday. Now, say, if I'm wrong, I'll answer for that someday. Now, my salvation, and whether they know it or not, which I have been teaching, our salvation is not based on anything we may have ever perceived in our soulish ideas of salvation. That salvation was given to us before he was ever born. That was finished. The finished work of Christ, authored and finished before the world ever began. That's what I preach and teach. Like I said, you can find someone out there in the secular world or religious world that preach and teaches this. It'd be interesting to hear from them. I know a few that preach and teach these things. They don't go to a church of their idea, of this world's idea, and this religious idea of church. I mean, half of them on YouTube or on the web somewhere. More and more, you know. I'm just rambling here. I'm saying, I make the offer. We could plan that if that's what you need. Do you need to get together? Or are you happy with what you got? In your local area, your local church, whatever denomination you're in, and you're getting as much from them as you may be getting from my YouTube videos and my sending you things in Dropbox and my sending you emails. If you can get as much from them, there's no need for me to even communicate with you anymore. I'm looking for those, as the Father's looking for, those that will worship Him in truth and in spirit, and really understand what I mean by that. By now, by reason of time, you should know. If you've listened to all my videos, have been reading my emails, you know where I'm coming from. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm still sending emails. I'll still make videos, and I'll still put it out there. But for the few that I've heard say that it would be nice if we could get together, well, we can. There's nothing that says we can't to meet together. We don't forsake to assembling ourselves together, but not under a church or a label. I'm not under that. You know, it says a spiritual man won't be proved of anyone. If anything, it goes links with what Jesus said to the woman at the well. A spiritual man, a spiritual person. It can't be proved to no one. Because you face religious people, they'll say to you, what church do you go to? What's your denomination? What do you believe? Anything you can believe. There's only one way, one truth, one life. I mean, it gets puzzling after a while, like, but what has developed over church history and history of this world? Whatever God has, Jesus had a question. He said, when I come, will I find faith? I mentioned that in one of my videos. What's he talking about? Faith of what? No, not our idea of faith. No. Will you find those that are in this faith of the finished work of Christ before the foundation of the world? Something agreement between the Father and the Son and powered by the Holy Spirit. I've said that thousands of times. That's the faith that he questioned that he will find when he comes. Those that are looking forward to this place prepared, that are not fighting for the place that they've created with their hands here. I'm looking forward to that place not created by the hands of men. That kingdom of the continuances I brought out. That's always been there, is there right now, and will always be there once all this 7,000 years in this whole world and this human history and this unreality ends and the true reality comes about. The truth, the reality of the Spirit manifested to a resurrected body, a renewed body, a body that is incorruptible in a world that has no beginning, no end, and goes on forever. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I preach and teach. I hope you understand that. So let me end on that. There's more. I mean, it'd be good to get feedback. If you don't give me feedback, then that's the end of that matter. I don't really need to get together, but it would be great. So make your comments, or not comment at all. It's up to you. Like I'm saying, I'm not going to throw you to the side. You know, I'll keep sending stuff. I'll go it that way. You know, God bless you, and I really love you guys. God bless you.